The newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Areas in the Philippines under granular lockdown have climbed to more than 850 due to rising COVID-19 cases. The Philippine National Police reports a 53% increase in just one day compared to around the 500 areas under lockdown on Thursday. The regions with the most number of lockdown areas are Cordillera Administrative Region, Ilocos, and Cagayan Valley. In NCR, only 17 areas are placed under lockdown, which is around 65% lower compared to 49 in the previous day. The Philippines is again at the bottom of the Bloomberg's COVID-19 resiliency rankings for January. The Philippines ranked 53 out of 53 countries in the Resilience Index with a score of 48.3. The score is a slight improvement from December when the Philippines had a score of 43.1. Now, the report said developing countries like the Philippines were still struggling to administer COVID-19 vaccines due to logistical issues. But Malacanang says Bloomberg should have looked for a different indicator of resiliency. At the bottom of the list, along with the Philippines, are Vietnam and Russia. The Bloomberg ranking considered a country's success in its full vaccination, openness to travel, and outbreak size.
Siguro ang pinakamagandang indicator ng resilience ay yung ating economic growth. Fourth quarter ng 2021, 7.7% po economic growth. Full year 2021, 5.6% economic growth.
Bayan Muna Chairperson Nery Colmenares gets the 8th spot in Isang Bayan's Senate slate in this year's elections. The opposition coalition also announced their presidential and vice presidential bets. Faith Del Mundo with the details.
Opposition Coalition One Sambayan has formally endorsed Vice President Leni Robredo and Senator Kiko Pangilinan as their presidential and vice presidential bets for the upcoming election. During the virtual proclamation, One Sambayan has also announced their senatorial slate, which includes 8 aspirants, with former Bayan Muna Congressman Nery Colmenares being the latest addition to the lineup. Former Senior Associate Justice and Lead Convener Antonio Carpio said that this is only an initial list and their senatorial slate is still open.
We will add to this initial list of 8 as we receive the public declarations of support to the Leni Kiko ticket from the other senatorial candidates who would then be included in our list.
Carpio adds that the 2022 elections will be the battle for the soul of the nation as they vow to campaign for all their candidates.
We see the May 2022 elections as the battle for the soul of the nation, a battle to prevent the return of those who benefited from dictatorship, plunder, and cronyism at the expense of the long-suffering Filipino people.
In the same program, Colmenares also announced that he and Makabayan Coalition are now backing the candidacy of Robredo and Pangilinan. This despite Colmenares' non-inclusion in Robredo's Senate slate after choosing Labor leader Sonny Matula for the final slot. One Sambayan's virtual proclamation was star-studded with performances from the company, Mitch Valdez, Jim Paredes, Ryan Cayabyab, and other singers. The coalition also received 2 million pesos in donation and they are open to more for the campaign. Meanwhile, Robredo hopes that One Sambayan will include the serving aspirants in their slate.
Hindi natin inaakala na pwede tayong magsama-sama ng ganito bilang isang grupo. Pero napatunayan natin, binibigkis tayo ng iisang pangarap at ng pagmamahal natin para sa bansa. Ngayong papasimula na ang official campaign season, alam kong lalo ring tumitindi ang pagsisikap ninyo na madagdagan pa yung momentum na naabot natin itong mga nakaraang buwan. Kabilang na nga dito itong pagpahayag ng suporta ng Isang Bayan para sa inyo mga senatorial candidates. Alam ko rin na naging mahaba at masinsin ang sarili ninyong proseso ng pagpapasya. Kaya umaasa ako na yung mga pangalang inihahain ninyo ngayon, umaayon din sa mga fundamental values na nagbibigay sa atin. May mga pagkakataong nagkakaiba ang mga pananaw natin, pero mas madalas na malinaw ang pagkakahanay natin. At sa lahat ng pagkakataon, bukas at mainit ang ugnayan natin. Handa lagi tayo makinig at mag-usap bilang kapwa nagmamahal sa bansang Pilipinas. Batid natin kung gaano kaimportante ang eleksyon na ito. The choice we make will determine the course that the country will take in the next 6 years. Higit sa lahat, aalalahanan sana natin ang ating pangunahing layunin, ang ayusin ang bansa natin.
For News 5, Faith Del Mundo, we are One News.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. It was not an easy road for WBC featherweight champion Mark Magnifico Magsayo to get the elite club after defeating Gary Russell Jr. for the world title win last Sunday. Gretchen Ho tells us the story of the new champ in this report.
And the new WBC featherweight champion of the world, Mark Magnifico Magsayo.
It's mission accomplished for Mark Magnifico Magsayo. This was after he claimed the WBC World Featherweight Championship by outclassing American Gary Russell Jr. via majority decision. With the victory, Magsayo remains undefeated and now holds a 24-0 record.
Lagi kong tinatanong sa sarili ko kung kailan pa ako makalaban ng world title fight. Kasi ngayon biglang nag-world champion na ako. Kaya yung mga pinaghirapan naman talaga nag-paid off.
But behind Magnifico's exciting win was a lot of hard work and sacrifice. The 24-year-old boxer was supported by a world-class team composed of his nutritionist, Judith Aro, who also helped Olympic gold medalist Heidelin Diaz, and Coach Freddie Roach, the man behind Pinoy boxing legend Manny Pacquiao.
Grabe yung sakripisyo ko kahit December 25 dito. Training pa rin ako. Ginawa ko na lahat para manalo. Sobrang importante na may isang Coach Freddie Roach sa likod ng aking career.
So what's next for Mark? While his team has yet to reveal his next opponent, Mark says he's very open to doing a rematch with Gary Russell Jr.
Kung magaling na yung kaya, kung magaling na yung shoulder niya, why not? Pero dadaan siya sa mga pagsubok na dinaanan ko, babalik siya sa umpisa bago siya makalaban sa akin. Kasi pinaghirapan ko rin to eh.
Magsayo meanwhile said that he is very thankful to all his supporters, especially those residing in New Jersey. But of course, Mark says he couldn't have done it without his wife.
Sobrang laki ng tulong ng misis ko kasi siya lahat gumagawa ng kontrata ko sa paano kontrata sa laban dito, tsaka siya po yung manager ko ngayon kaya sobrang thankful ako kasi lahat ng mga needs ko binibigay niya.
For now, Mark and his team will enjoy their much-deserved rest as they plan to go back to the country in the coming days. Gretchen Ho, we are One News.
China is betting on American-born freestyle skier Eileen Gu to get the gold at this year's Beijing Winter Olympics. More details on the star skier in this Bloomberg Quick Take.
China's best hope for Olympic winter gold is 18-year-old freestyle skier Eileen Gu. She won gold medals at the 2020 Youth Olympics in Switzerland and the 2021 X Games in Colorado. She's garnering attention off the slopes too, from Louis Vuitton, Tiffany, and Estee Lauder signing on as brand ambassador.
我觉得我从小就说我有3个生活，一个是当正常学生，一个是当滑雪运动员，然后一个是当可能时尚这一方面的一部分。
And she may be China's best chance at winning a gold medal at the Beijing Winter Olympics.
我整个生活，我感觉奥运会是一个很遥远的一种梦想，就是永远不会真的发生的一件事情。现在我觉得，因为是这一季的比赛了，所以感觉变成了很真实的一件事情。
Born in San Francisco to an American father and a Chinese mother, Eileen announced in 2019 that she would ski for China at the Beijing Games.
The opportunity here for the sport to grow and to be one of those idols who have really made me who I am as a skier, I know the impact that they had on me.
Eileen seems to be aware of the political sensitivity around China. On Chinese social media platform Weibo, her posts focus on her self-identification as a Chinese athlete and role model for her 1 million followers. This while the U.S. government announced a diplomatic boycott of the Beijing Olympics over concerns about China's poor human rights record. But if China needs a national hero, Eileen seems ready for the job.
So to be able to introduce just one young girl to skiing and change her life the way that mine was changed is something that's inexorable and so worth doing. And because there's so many idols already in the US, and I think that in China there's so much more opportunity.
Part of it, I think, has to do with ethnic identity. Somebody like that, ethnically Chinese, that performs at such a high level, wins gold medals for the mother country. The other, I think, on the Chinese side is, they clearly want to improve the national performance, image, and passion for winter sports. So having a hero, right, a national hero that looks like them probably goes a long way towards building that sort of national passion and attention to grow winter sports in the biggest country in the world.
Athletes have been flexible with their Olympic allegiances since the Games began in ancient Greece. But for these Beijing Games, Eileen seems to be the face. The Beijing Olympic Committee released a promotional video featuring her. You could also spot her pictures on storefronts and advertisements of major brands in Beijing.
我非常喜欢自由式滑雪，是因为是一个可以表示自己的，每个人做起来是不同的。如果所有人都穿着黑的衣服，然后从很远去看他们，能看出来一个一个的人是谁，就从滑雪方式来看到。我觉得最重要是要保持这个游戏和热爱的心态，因为这样不会感觉压力是太大的，所以是一个平衡，又要去热爱，又要去享受，但是同时也要去辛苦的努力。
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later again at 1:30 in the afternoon as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.